All right, we are live. Thank you for joining us.
Kenny again.
I swear, technical difficulties tonight. I'm sorry.
Thank you for joining us on Talking Movies with Sean, Kenny, and Jim. Sorry, we're laughing because Kenny has some issues with his computer, so he's using his phone, and his phone doesn't want to behave. He wants to take him vertical instead of horizontal. So that's pretty awesome.
That's what she said.
So tonight we are talking independent horror with our guests. We've got Bryan, the horror punk from YouTube.
Hey guys.
And we've got Mr. Dan from Mr. Dan and Horror, also from YouTube. And tonight is also a special show because this is going to be the first show that is going out not only on YouTube Live, but it will be the first show that goes out after we're done, after we sign off at 9 o'clock tonight. It'll be going out to Spotify and Apple Podcasts. So
Yay!
Very nice.
So if all things work as they're supposed to work, that's the plan.
Right.
So if you don't catch the live stream, you can listen to us. If you don't want to look at our ugly mugs, you can listen to us on those platforms, also Podbean and YouTube Music as well. So we're very happy about that. So let's introduce our guests and have them introduce themselves. We'll start with Bryan, the horror punk, and tell us a little bit about yourself, Bryan.
Hey, I'm Bryan. I'm the horror punk. I'm the part of the horror punk channel. So I'm just a big movie collector. I'm really into horror, as you guys know. I started watching movies when I was like maybe 3. And it's just, I just really got into it. Horror is my number one genre. I do enjoy comedy. I do enjoy like drama, thrillers, TV movies too. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
What prompted you to start a YouTube channel?
It's been, I think, toward the middle of 2020, I believe, is when I started. So I've been on for about 4 years.
Okay. What made you start one?
My brother had one, and I felt like I could, share my love of cinema the way he did. So
okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right.
Does your brother still have a channel?
Yeah,
Y2K bassist.
19. Yep.
19.
Y2K
Right.
bassist 19. Yep.
Cool. Check it out.
Awesome.
Mhm.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
And Dan, Mr. Dan, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, thanks. I'm Mr. Dan in Horror on YouTube. And you guys know the movie It Follows?
Yes.
The Mr. Dan, I used to teach preschool and kindergarten, so they called me Mr. Dan. I thought I left that behind, but then I started to see some of those same parents on like the soccer field when my son was playing, and they just kept calling me Mr. Dan. So it was like the movie It Follows. I couldn't get away from it. So I just said, to hell with it. I'll just be Mr. Dan. So anyway, my Instagram is Mr. Dan Horror Hot Wheels, because my other channel used to be about Hot Wheels with my son, but he's in college now, so we sort of, he outgrew it. I didn't really outgrow it, but he did.
We'll come back to it.
Yeah, but I started watching science fiction and horror movies on TV, just like Kenny. Same channels as Kenny in the Philadelphia area in the 70s. Godzilla, King Kong, Jason and the Argonauts. My recommendation at the end of the show will be one of those ones that stuck with me. That was a little bit creepier than usual. Nice. And, I just loved the genres ever since. And a couple years ago, I was actually commenting on some other channels with my old channel. And I just off the cuff said, maybe I should start a channel. My friend, the Night Watch Zone, said, yeah, you should. Go and start a channel. So I did. So
awesome. Patrick chimed in the chat, says you're the Yeti Squatch expert.
Okay, so we had a monster truck race, and I had a Yeti truck and a Sasquatch truck, and the one smashed into the other, and he's been. It was just like an ongoing joke. It was kind of goofy, and it's just been going on ever since. By the way, Patrick actually met Dio.
No, really?
Wow.
Yeah, he booked Ronnie James Dio, and he met him, and then when Dio came back, he walked in. He was like, "Hey, Patrick, he remembered everybody's name."
Wow.
That's really
Pretty
cool.
Yeah.
Now I'm even in more awe of Patrick.
Right, exactly.
That's awesome.
Rest in peace, Ronnie James Dio.
Yeah.
Yeah. absolutely. One of the greats, if not the greatest metal vocalist of all time.
Yep. Definitely in the running.
Oh, yeah. All right. So tonight, the topic is independent horror. And we were just talking before the show that this is a topic that you can kind of slice and dice a lot of different ways. What does independent horror mean to you? And we were kind of talking about, new films, old films, what constitutes an independent horror film to you. So we'll kind of see that reflected in what we talk about tonight, but we'll kind of go around the room, I guess, and just feel free to chime in. What is independent horror to you? Whoever wants to start.
Don't everybody chime in at once.
Yeah, I see.
I guess I'll go first since I'm the new
Yeah,
guy
our
here.
guests should definitely go first.
Okay. So when I think independent horror, I think low budget. I think small companies. I think of directors and writers coming together and spending their money, but also going on like Kickstarter and whatnot, and trying to get money. To help fund the movie.
Mhm.
And I also think of like the guy said before, like Wild Eye and like just very like low independent films. I got a couple here in front of me. Like what's that one? I'm trying to think here. Uncorked. I think of that. I think of sometimes I think of The Asylum too. Stuff like that.
Yeah,
Shout out to Kenny for The Asylum.
Yeah, I know you do.
Yeah, that's what I think of.
Okay.
How about you, Dan?
Yeah, I think when I think of like guys who just like basically went for it. Like, and you get some of the craziest stories when you learn about the making of movies like The Evil Dead or the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. The casting of Gunnar Hansen, like a random, do you know a big guy? Yeah, I know a big guy. We'll bring him in. And then they see him walking across the street from a second story window and they go, yeah, that's the guy, or all the crazy things they did in The Evil Dead. They had to sleep where they were filming because they didn't have any money. They strapped a camera to a 1x6x8 and they had two guys run through the woods at top speed. And yeah, actually, even before Kickstarter, the way they would... Like for Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer and Evil Dead, they actually got like investors like from the financial world to watch like short versions of their films.
Yep.
Probably people who never watched a horror movie or weren't necessarily horror fans were probably horrified by what they saw, but they saw enough to say, okay, here's some money, This is just this kind of like this like crazy belief that you can somehow get this project off the ground,
Yeah, I personally think of like the Ed Wood movies.
Oh yeah,
sure. That he used a lot of stock footage in his, and basically his friends. I mean, hell, his chiropractor was in most of his movies. So it's just like I just think of them, and I think of like Bryan buys a lot of like TerraVision movies and stuff like that, and basically the acting is absolutely brutal, and they don't have too much of a story, but you got to give people credit like that because they're actually trying to make a good movie.
And a lot of people can't do that. They don't have like the imagination. They don't have like to do stuff like that. So that's why I support it. I mean, I've tried to write scripts before, and I've given up and taken a break, and it's not for everybody.
Right. What about you, Jim?
Like I mentioned before we started, the first that I always think of is Night of the Living Dead, George Romero, because this was truly an independent horror film. This thing went around festival circuits before it actually got a release, and it was they made industrial films and commercial films at that point, and found local actors, and it just kind of caught fire. And that's the first horror movie I ever saw. I mean, my brother exposed that to me on one of those late night creature feature shows like you guys watched, in Philadelphia. There was one in Chicago, and that's, what I watched. But between that and the other thing I always think about is 70s drive-in movies. You guys all know how obsessed I am with drive-ins. And Dan already mentioned Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but how about stuff like Massacre at Central High?
Oh yeah.
I
enjoyed that.
Or even better, my favorite exploitation of all time from that time period, Grizzly. This was truly an independent movie, and until Halloween came along, this was the most successful independent movie ever of any genre.
Wow.
This sucker made like $70 million at the time. Back then. That's without being grossed, adjusted for today's income. And yet it's a B-movie Jaws ripoff.
Right.
But it shows what you can do if you have some sort of talent behind and a little bit of money, you can do things, John Carpenter took it to a next level, of course, with Halloween, but that's what I think of. The only other one that really pops into my head immediately is Phantasm, the original Phantasm, because again, totally independent, played the drive-in circuit, slowly got a word of mouth, and now it's a franchise.
Yep.
Yeah, there you go, Patrick. Hail Christopher George. Love Christopher George.
Love that guy.
Yeah.
How about you, Sean?
Kenny kind of took the words right out of my mouth. The first thing I think of is like Ed Wood, going around trying to get people's money, any way he can, like promising producers that he'll have, certain people in his films just so he could get their money, and having to bend his vision a little bit just so he can get somebody to sign the checks. But the low budgets that Bryan mentioned, and the just the creative vision of bringing something that they've been working hard on, like either you've got a director and a writer, or you've got a writer director who just have this vision, and that they just are going to not stop at anything to get it made and get it put up on screen, and they'll do anything to get it made. That's what I think of when I think of like an independent film. So just making an independent horror film is what I'm thinking. So, there's tons of great examples you guys all mentioned. So like Phantasm definitely comes to mind. Night of the Living Dead, Halloween. Another one that none of us have mentioned at all yet was the Blair Witch Project, which, it got a lot of corporate backing once it got into the channel, but as a film, it was completely independent. I mean, when it got launched, it had that sci-fi documentary, which I think it was on Sci-Fi, that did a lot of promoting for it. And I think is the reason why a lot of people think it's a real thing, or thought it was a real thing when it hit theaters.
The marketing for that movie was
really,
genius.
really good.
Yeah.
Because of the perfect storm with the internet at the time and everything else. I mean, the marketing for that movie is better than the movie, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree.
I know I'm in the minority, but I hate that movie. I've always hated that movie. It gave me a headache theatrically. And I don't have a problem with found footage. It's just, I was hoping that at one point these three were going to die just so that they would shut the hell up. I mean, they were the most annoying people ever.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll get off my rant now.
No, that's okay. Yeah, I remember going to see that film, and when the movie was over, I remember the lights came up and everybody just sort of looked at each other and went, "That's it? Wait, that was supposed to be real? Was that real? Wait, what?" I knew it wasn't real, but I just was like listening to everybody in the crowd just going, "Is that real? Wait, that wasn't real, was it? What?" And I just thought it was brilliant the way they marketed it.
The marketing is genius. Absolute genius.
So that's what I think of as a perfect example of an independent film. But all over the place, all over the spectrum. And I had made a comment. We were talking way before the show in our Instagram chat before we set the chat up, and I made a comment that may have been, I don't know, may have been taken the wrong way. possibly, but I said that some of the independent movies that come out now don't seem very sincere to me. And I think what I wanted to clarify on that is like some of the studios that come out that just basically shovel shit to the Walmart aisle. Some of those are just, like, okay, Cocaine Bear comes out, and then two weeks later you've got Cocaine Shark or Cocaine Werewolf.
Yeah, Crack-Coon coming out soon.
Yeah, Crack-Coon. Yeah, like stuff like that.
Made me choke.
Yeah, but
That's
you know
good.
what?
That's
the
good.
only way these guys can filter those movies out there.
Yeah.
Is the Walmarts, because Bryan's brother was talking about that his Target doesn't get any movies anymore.
Oh, they're done. They're done. They're finished.
Yeah, there's no movies at his Targets. So it's like, where are these independent, places going to have them? But besides Walmart, and you don't really get a lot of them at Walmart like now, like you used to.
They barely sell movies at all at my Walmart now.
Really?
They just now they're remodeling the store, changing it around and shit because they're making them all kind of the same. And they had a steelbook kiosk for years, not for years, but for the last year at least. That's gone.
Oh wow!
And the $5 bin with DVDs, that's still there, but the Blu-ray one for like $7.50 or $10, that's long gone.
Yeah.
And we're talking, they sell more TV titles and shit, like the complete A-Team and the complete this and that, rather than actual movies at this point.
Yep.
Just what comes out that week, Yeah. And there goes Kenny again.
I apologize. I'm very sorry.
Hey, you could leave it there. We're kind of waving at you.
Leave your phone there. Just rearrange your room.
Yeah, really.
That might be easier.
If it does that, guys, I swear it was like I bought a brand new computer just to do this, and the camera didn't work. And now it's like I'm on my phone, so I have it like on my side where it's like this, and I don't know why it goes up the other way. I don't know. So I apologize. Sorry about that.
It's all right. It's all right. It's just distracting when all of a sudden you flip over.
You're like Batman and Robin climbing up the building.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh man. But yeah. So yeah, when I mentioned those movies that don't seem sincere, I mean, I know that's technically an exploitation film, and those have been around forever. But when I think of independent horror films lately, it seems like there's many more of those than there are somebody trying to make something they're really passionate about. At least that's what seems to make it to the store shelves.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, I'm so far behind on, even the ones that did get a release this year, like Long Legs you were talking about earlier, or was that In a Violent Nature? Is that what it's called?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I've seen bits and pieces of, like, I've seen that infamous kill with the hook, which I gotta admit, that was pretty gnarly. I did enjoy that, but I haven't seen the movie just because I've heard about the synopsis of it, and I think it would just be so boring in between anything happening. Right. Kind of like Blair Witch, so have any of you guys seen that movie yet?
Yeah, I just saw it recently. Finally, curiosity just got to me, so I just finally broke down. I had to watch it, and it was. It's definitely different. People say, "Oh, I want something different," and then when they get something different, sometimes it's like, but just because it's different, it doesn't mean it has to be the greatest thing ever.
No.
Yeah.
Can more people just start saying, "Hey, that movie was pretty good. I enjoyed it." It seems like it has to be one extreme or the other,
right?
And I think that's probably because of people feel they have to do that on social media,
Yeah, but would you recommend it?
Yeah, I recommend it. Yeah,
because me and you have very similar tastes. So
right.
If you say it's worthwhile, yeah, I'll check it out. I know it's available on streaming now, and I think it's AMC Plus or whatever. I don't know. Shudder, I think, has it actually.
Shudder.
Yes.
So, and I have Shudder. So,
Thank you, because I was going to say I saw it. It was streaming somewhere, and I knew it was on one of the things I had, but I couldn't remember which one it was. So, thank you. I will be checking it out.
And I still haven't seen Late Night with the Devil yet either. And everybody I've talked to says that movie's great.
Oh,
So
I enjoyed it when I saw it.
Yeah.
I really want to check that one out.
That's
But
really,
again, I'm just so far behind. And then when I actually do find myself watching movies, I end up watching old stuff.
Yeah.
I just do.
Yeah. Yeah. Late Night with the Devil. I enjoyed the concept of it. I thought it was fantastic. The end kind of turned me off a little bit, but overall, I would recommend it. I got to give them thumbs up for trying something different.
Cool.
I really like the concept of it. I just think it sort of fell apart at the end, but I'll give them an A for effort.
Mm-hmm. I agree with that. I thought it was okay. I told Sean, the lead actor in it,
David Demolshin.
Yeah, he reminded me of Steve Coogan, the actor Steve Coogan.
Yeah, he's a good actor, though. He is. He's
a very good actor, and he just had his mannerisms and stuff, and I could see Coogan playing that role because Coogan in real life, they say, is a real jackass.
Right.
I've heard that. Yeah.
So
whenever I think of Steve Coogan, I think of Tropic Thunder with him blowing up on the landmine. So, I mean, seriously, that's what I think of.
Who put out Late Night with the Devil? That was Shudder, right? Yeah, RLJE. Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's a second sight 4K coming out next month that I pre-ordered. So.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Damn it. I just broke down and bought the Blu-ray, and I was like,
yeah, I'm going to buy the Blu-ray.
So what about the X trilogy? Is that independent?
It's
Maxine.
It's A24, Lionsgate. I mean, I probably would consider it independent.
Independent-ish.
Yeah.
I haven't seen those movies yet, to be honest.
I've only seen this one because it was available for a cheap price.
Far behind.
So, and I watched it. And I was like, that was pretty good, but I wasn't like so nuts about it that I had to see the other ones when they came out. That's one of the ones. Like when I saw it on a couple different lists of independent films, I was actually kind of surprised that it was on there.
Mm.
Well, that's Ty West, though, right?
Yeah, Ty West.
That's why.
Yeah.
I mean, people are still saying Steven Soderbergh is an independent filmmaker, and he hasn't made an independent movie in 30 years. So
Now House of the Devil by Ty West. That's on like a lot of people's lists. That's truly like when that's from what 13 years ago or something.
Yeah.
So that was a while ago.
I'd buy that as an independent film.
Yeah, definitely. And it felt like one too. It really did.
Right.
I enjoyed his the movie The Sacrament. Have you guys have seen that?
Yes, that is a great movie.
Like a Jim Jones vibe.
Yes, it is extremely creepy, especially for people that are familiar with the whole Jim Jones.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we were all kids when that shit happened. I mean, I remember watching that on World News Tonight. With all the bodies and Killer Kool-Aid. Don't drink the Kool-Aid. Yeah, Sacrament is a very good movie. Good call, Brian.
Yes.
Yeah, I'll check that one out.
And you know what's crazy about that? My dad's name was Jim Jones.
Really?
Oh.
Try living through that. Don't go to Kenny and Chris's. His dad's Jim Jones.
Yeah.
I grew up in a town next to Crystal Lake, so. And I grew up in Illinois, not in Haddonfield, but I grew up in Illinois. So killers were everywhere in Illinois, man.
The Midwest, it just breeds them.
Yeah.
Don't go to Wisconsin.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
So what would you guys say? Like, I know Jim and I were probably not, maybe Kenny. So we'll lean on our guests. What would you guys say is the best independent horror film that's come out this year?
Oh, this year.
This year. Ooh, tough one.
That is a tough one.
I don't know.
Are Blumhouse movies considered independent?
No, I wouldn't consider them.
Damn.
No.
Because I've only seen one
No.
new horror movie this year. and it's
Universal
Abigail.
definitely. I think Universal that owns them, right? They definitely push them a lot. So no, I would not. I wouldn't consider them that.
Hello, Simon from Italy.
Hey, Simon.
Italy.
Simon,
Yeah. Is Longlegs considered independent or not?
Yeah, I think
Neon,
so.
yeah, it's Neon.
Because I mean,
Yeah.
for me, by default, because I haven't seen a lot of the latest films, that is one I did see in the theater.
There's one called Strange Darling that's got a limited release. It's
I
supposed
keep
to be
hearing
really
about
good.
that movie, but I
Yeah.
haven't.
Yeah, it's supposed
I've-
to be really bizarre, but it's supposed to be really good. And it's playing nowhere near me. I mean, nowhere.
I've heard of the coffee table, but I have yet to
Yeah,
check that out.
Patrick has mentioned that a few times before. I definitely got to check that out.
Yeah, I've never heard of that one.
Yeah, my
Sure.
friend recommended that to me. She's big on horror films, and she recommended that to me. I don't know where she saw it. I think she rented it off of Amazon.
One I have watched recently that I thought was it's cheesy, it's stupid, but Graveyard Shark.
Graveyard Shark.
That was very, very bizarre, very strange, but it worked. It worked.
Graveyard
I'll
Shift.
give you
There's
guys,
a-
I'll give you guys a piece of advice. When you watch
That's
when
awesome.
you watch Bryce and Bryan's videos, okay, watch them because a lot of their movies are on streaming services.
Yes.
So I always keep my book handy right beside me, and I write them all down, and I check Tubi, all them. So whatever Bryan recommends or Mr. Dan, they're usually on the YouTube or Tubi that
Okay.
you can check out.
I think this might be on Tubi. I got this from SRS Cinema, but it's actually not one of their movies. It's Mad Angel Films.
Oh, okay.
Never heard of them, but picked it up through them.
Yeah, because I know even a lot of the like when these people get the horror packs, a lot of the movies are on Tubi already, either Tubi or Shudder.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Did
So,
you get that Tubi sponsorship yet, Kenny?
not yet, man. I'm working on it. I send them videos, and I sent Sean. I got a Dear John letter from him. Hey, thank you for your interest, but I'm still gonna harp on them. I love Tubi, so it's
very
like
nice.
We're going to plug Patrick's channel. He's going to be interviewing the director on October 28th on his channel.
Nice.
Very
yeah,
cool.
have
Yeah,
seen-
Patrick,
Yeah.
he'll interview a lot of independent filmmakers.
Yeah.
Yeah, Patrick interviews a lot of
I've
people.
actually, I've interacted with a few, just by reviewing their films and I tag them on Instagram and
Mhm.
actually, in a second here, I'll pull out the one. I can't even remember the name of it. It is a Wild Eye, but I had a pretty long back and forth with the director and one of the actresses and everything, and they were talking about a sequel. But yeah, that's a cool thing to do. Of course, I also got an email from one guy that said I didn't understand his movie. Which, to be honest, I probably did lose track of the plot because I was like, what the heck? It didn't make any damn sense, but whatever.
I would have replied to the guy, yeah, that's on you.
Right. You did your job. Hey, Mike.
Bryan
Hey,
did
Mike.
recommend one that was really good. It was Don't F in the Woods. The
Oh,
first
yeah.
one.
Yeah.
That was that was really good. That was like one of those 80s cheesy, The second one wasn't as good as the first one because they changed a couple of the actors. But man, that first
Cougar.
one, man, that was really good.
Cocaine Cougar.
It's so deep.
I still can't get over the whole Crackoon thing.
Raccoon. Oh yeah. Coming soon to your store shelves.
Yeah, Patrick was throwing some of the
Maybe
titles
not.
in there. You cocaine
I think
Cougar and
that's
Investigator.
Screambox. Yeah.
I might as well show it now while it's fresh. The cover doesn't really have anything to do with the movie. It's called "And Then You Die."
I've heard of that.
Yeah, and it's the antagonist is like a heavy set like balding kind of guy who just loses it and has the worst day ever, and then just starts killing people. So he's not,
Great.
but he just doesn't stop. And I actually watched it. I liked it so much. I watched it. I started to watch it with the commentary, thinking, "Oh, I'll watch 20 minutes." I watched the whole movie again with the commentary. It was so interesting. Like they were talking about, like there were scenes where, like, oh, you notice he's already stalking them in the background. And I was like, oh, I didn't notice that the first time. And then there's another scene where he grabs one of his victims and he drags him. And the director said, when this kid stood up, his shirt was like shredded and his back was all cut up because they dragged him across a gravel road. And he was such a trooper, he didn't say anything.
Wow.
Good actor.
And, and there's another scene where, like, he's like, now if you look, the actress already has a lump on her head because when we did the rehearsal, because he grabs her head and he slams it on a counter, it was, you know, he did it like too hard the first time. And they had to do another take, so she already had like a lump before they did it. Like I kept, you know, I thought it was fascinating.
That's awesome.
Wow.
And what's that called again, Dan?
And Then You Die.
Then You Die.
I'll have to
And
look
then you
that.
die.
I'll have to
I'll
check
have
that
to
out.
look that.
Yeah,
I'll
I'm gonna look
definitely
up
have
that
to
one.
look that up.
Yeah. It's got a wood chipper kill in it too. So
Oh,
Nice.
love wood chipper kills.
yeah, well, he's driving down the road and a guy in a wood chipper cuts him off. So you know, it's the kind of movie you're like, I think that wood chipper is going to come into play later.
When I think wood chipper, I think
Fargo.
Tucker.
Yeah,
Well, yeah, Fargo, but yeah,
Tucker and Dale.
Tucker and Dale versus
Evil.
Evil. Yes.
Are you okay?
Pulls like the bottom part of the person's body out of the chipper. That's hilarious.
I love that movie so much. That was actually going to be my recommendation this week originally. I
That's a
changed
good
it
one.
at the last
That's a good
minute,
one.
So yeah, because that's truly an independent movie,
Mhm.
and it's great.
Oh, sorry, guys.
There goes Dan's stuff.
Yeah.
Between Kenny and Dan, we're giving them a good show tonight.
I had my movies propped up here so I can grab them easier, but they fell over. Okay, I'm good.
We're gonna have to find a sponsor, like some sort of seismic reader or something.
Reminds me of like the old movies when they would have an earthquake and they would just shake the camera.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Star
That's what
Trek
the show's like
episodes.
tonight.
Everybody lean
Everybody's
this
starting-
way.
yeah,
Everybody
just-
lean that way.
Okay. Just saw something on my other screen and it said Starry Eyes, and that's an independent film, isn't it?
Yes, I think that was Dark Sky put that out. I think I want to say it was Dark Sky Films, but I'm not 100%. I checked my copy, but it's actually out there, and yeah,
Okay.
I want to grab it right now.
Yeah, that's a really good one.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
definitely enjoyed that one.
I've picked that up. I don't know how many times at the store, and I've never bit the bullet on it. I don't know why.
It's
Oh,
about
okay.
it's about becoming an actress in Hollywood and how Hollywood pretty much kills you, sucks your soul.
Oh, okay.
That's what I got out of it anyway.
Yeah.
I got a question for Dan and Bryan.
Yes,
How
sir.
do you know guys come about these movies? I've never heard of them. Is there like a sort of like a Blu-ray.com like for like independent horror, or
I just look at I just look at upcoming new releases coming out. Basically, Amazon. I go look at digital bits. I just
Oh, okay.
listen to other people's reviews on things on YouTube.
Yeah, that's mostly what I get
That's what I do.
my recommendations from other people. Sometimes I see little I don't intentionally go to news sites to see what's coming out, but sometimes I wind up there and I'll see, I'll take note of something. But even like Starry Eyes, I was watching a guy did a video, Jason from Backtrack Cinema, and he mentioned it. 5 underrated horror movies, something like that. So sometimes it takes me like 3 or 4 times. I'll hear people mention a movie like 3 or 4 times, like The Coffee Table, and then I'll finally, go ahead and watch it. But yeah, it's mostly for me. It's mostly word of mouth from other YouTubers.
Gotcha. Yeah, because I was just wondering because I know it's like because I know Bryan does a lot of Street Factory and Vinegar Syndrome.
Mhm.
And I was just like, how did they know? Because it's like a couple times I asked Bryan, like in the comments, about some of these, because I've never even heard of some of these before. You know, I mean, with Dan with the karate ones, you can find them a little bit more than you can with the horror ones. You know, I was just curious because I find it very interesting. And it's like it's a new genre for me because I just started watching it when I started watching your videos. You know, both of your videos. You know, it was the same with the karate.
I'm trying to remember how I got introduced to Vinegar Syndrome. I don't remember, honestly. I've been buying through them for years. This was like before, like the mid-level medias, the movies with Sue, channels like that existed.
I know the first one that I ever seen was Reject Films. He does like a lot of like Vinegar Syndrome ones, and they always have to have the slipcover on it. You know.
Well, that makes it resellable, but that's not what I do. I actually like the slipcovers, but I do want to watch the movie.
Right.
I have interest in them. When I buy a movie from them, I have an interest in the movie. I don't just buy it to be like, oh, I can sell this later down the line and make money off of it. Some people do that. I don't see a point in that.
Yeah, I don't either.
Yeah, like Patrick said there in the comment, that's how I used to find my horror movies in general, but especially Indy was Fangoria.
Yeah.
They were like the horror Bible. Dog Soldiers, way back in the day. I never heard of Dog Soldiers until I read about it in Fangoria. And then I rented it at Blockbuster of all places. And that's probably a top 5 werewolf movie for me now. I love that movie.
That's a great film.
I picked up the Vinegar Syndrome release of Bloodsucking Freaks.
Nice.
But it's this is I bought it because I wanted to watch it in 4K, not because it has a nice reversible slipcover with the magnet spine. You can just turn around and flip it around.
Oh, that's
that is
cool.
nice.
Oh, that's neat.
It is. That's nice.
That's cool.
It's a rich shape. You can flip it around if you want to, but the reason why I wanted it is I wanted to watch the movie in 4K.
I only have one Vinegar Syndrome title on my shelf, and that's Fade to Black.
That's a good one.
Yeah,
that's the only one I've got. And I like Vinegar Syndrome. They've got some really cool stuff, but most of their titles, quite honestly, either I've never heard of them, which is fine, okay, but a lot of their titles just don't interest me. It's just, I'm more of a Scream Factory guy, although Scream Factory lately, it's been regurgitating the same stuff over and over and over.
Yes.
But for the first 7 years that Scream Factory was around, I think they were the best. I mean, as far as horror goes, they were banger after banger after banger,
Yeah. Even some other like independent, the movies that they've released that are like the newer ones, like the independent movies that they released were pretty good.
Yeah.
And then they started releasing stuff that I was like, why did they release that?
Right. Right.
But yeah.
Yeah, it sucks. They've got their Shocktober sale going on right now, and I'm not buying a thing off of it because everything that they've got on sale, either it's not on sale enough for me or I've already owned it. So it's like I don't need another version of this movie.
Right.
Yeah, that's their big thing now is they just re-release the same movies over and over and over.
Everything's got to have a 4K reissue,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or a steelbook.
Yeah.
That's the one thing I learned when I started watching other people's videos about sales. I was like, oh, so-and-so's, they're having a sale? And then I would look at the prices and I was like, wow, that's 40% off is still more than I usually pay for anything, still like pretty.
They had a sale 2 years ago when they had their 10-year anniversary as a label, and literally everything was 50% off. And I spent $200 on that sale, but I got 20 titles.
Yeah,
I mean, it was unbelievable, and they haven't had a sale like that since. I mean, it took me 2.5 months to even get my order, but I didn't care, because I was getting movies for $10 or less and they're good Blu-rays. I mean, some of them even came with slips, you know. But like you said, Dan, they'll sell the stuff that's really cheap is the stuff that nobody wants.
Yes, you know.
Right.
You know, and if it's something that is relatively in demand, we'll knock 20% off of list. But not, you know,
Right.
our suggested list price, which is like 20-30% higher than retail. You know,
Yeah.
so yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah, or I could go to Kino Lorber when they have a sale and get stuff between like $5.99
Yeah.
and $12.99 and get like 3 titles.
Yeah.
Right.
Same price.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
and it's just it's pretty
Kino's
bare
prices
bones
are
as far as
better
what you
anyway.
get. But
Never
it's like
buy
Kenny always
anything
says,
new.
I want the
buy
movie.
anything
I don't
new from
want, you know.
Kino.
Yeah.
You know, because Kino puts everything on sale like within 6 months after they put it out.
Yep.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
I
Right.
see, you know, like God love him, you know. I mean, Eddie, my buddy Eddie, you know, he's the one that got me on this thing in the first place, Movie Collector 623. He buys everything like the day it comes out because he's a collector. He's got to have it. And I always say to him, whenever he gets a Kino title, it's like, dude, wait 3 months and you get it half price. Because that's what I do, you know. And you'll still get a slip, you know.
Yep.
I mean, if it's got a slip in 3 months, you'll still get a slip.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, off topic. Sorry.
No, that's okay.
Kino's
What
good.
happened?
I support Kino.
Yeah, I did that with there's a movie called Death to Metal. So it was like when it came out, I was like, "Oh, you got it?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I was actually going to talk about this movie.
Good. I got it in the next room."
Like,
So it did come down, but that was one because of the type of movie it is, the subject matter. When it came out, I was like, I have to have it like now.
Right.
You
I
know.
think I bought this
but-
from Hamilton book, but yeah.
Yeah, but now it's
I
right,
enjoyed
exactly.
this movie. I
Yeah,
enjoyed
now
that
it came
movie
down. Yep.
quite a lot. Yeah.
Mhm.
What's that one about? Because that sounds interesting.
Devil and metal.
I'll read you the back. So after a freak accident, a defrocked priest is transformed into a mutated killing machine on a mission to destroy any and all fans of heavy metal music. It's up to 2 reluctant metalheads to send this holy monster straight back to hell.
Nice.
I'm
Writing that down.
It's Wild Eye. It is a Wild Eye release, but it's one of their better films.
Yeah,
in my
definitely.
opinion.
Definitely.
Yeah,
Patrick interviewed the director. He's a really cool guy.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
that sounds like a 6-pack
There's
movie.
the
That sounds fun.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. All right. Cool.
Yeah, and it's a fun movie too because they make fun of like the band names for heavy metal and the whole culture. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
It's a,
You know, the guy orders a shirt and he's like, the cross is supposed to be upside down, and he's like, yeah, but when I look at it like this, it is, and it's like, you know, it's so, you know, it's pretty funny.
It's an easy watch too. It's only 80 minutes, so
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
really
In and out.
short long time.
Awesome.
Yeah, I got to check that one out for sure. What sounds like I would love it.
That's fantastic. Yeah, one thing I was noticing about Shout Factory, Scream Factory, is that I just bought some stuff from their out of print sale a couple of weeks ago, and some of that stuff is now on. It may have been on. I didn't realize it, but it's now on Hamilton Book.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
And I've also noticed that when Shout Factory puts their stuff on going out of print, Kino maybe a couple of weeks later announce it for 4K.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, Leviathan. Dan just did a review of Leviathan on his channel, and the Scream Factory one's been out of print forever, and I almost bought it for astronomical prices, and then Kino ended up releasing it. So I've got it on Blue now through Kino, and
Okay.
like I told Dan on the comment on his channel, I'm not in love with that movie, so I'm glad I didn't spend 50 odd
Right.
bucks for it, for that out of print
yeah.
version.
Right. Yeah, I've gotten gun shy about doing that, going on eBay and paying ridiculous amounts of money for something that's out of print, because when I do that, it's usually 3 days before the announcement that it's coming back in print on a different label. I did that with Apocalypto, which I still haven't watched. I paid $48 for a copy for it.
Wow.
And literally 3 days later, oh, it's back in print.
Yep.
Shit.
And then I went back on eBay and got that old copy that you bought for $50, and I got it for 10.
Yep.
That's how it works. That's how it works.
because the new one doesn't have the commentary from Mel Gibson on it.
Oh, really?
No, and it doesn't look
okay.
as good as the original version. So you got the one that is good. Trust
Oh,
me.
okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Worked
I'll
out.
take it. I'll take it.
Take the W, Sean.
Awesome. All right, I'm gonna have to watch that interview with the director on Patrick's channel too. That'd be interesting after watching Death to Metal. Yeah, I usually take some swipes at Wild Eye. It's low hanging fruit as far as insults go. But yeah, occasionally they will have a gem hidden in there.
Yeah, I used to buy DVDs all the time when Walmart carried them, but they don't carry their label anymore.
Oh, they completely stopped carrying them?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I ordered a few from them when they were some of the cheaper ones in the past. I've also used to find some at Dollar Tree, but those were the two places I used to get them. But they've had some animated films. They've had a couple of documentaries.
No, documentaries are good.
They've done some different stuff, and I mean the one. It's not for everybody, but the one movie, Cat Sick Blues. Oh my gosh, that is brutal. But if you like that kind of thing, it's well made. But it's not like Amityville Dollhouse or anything like that. It's a pretty decent movie, not for everybody, but a decently made movies. So they're kind of like all over the place.
Yeah, the documentary that Wild Eye did that was really good was Sticky Floors and Popcorn.
Oh yeah, okay. I saw the trailer for that. Yeah.
Yeah, I watched it on Tubi. It was very good.
Yeah.
And I thought it was very very well done. I mean, I have a problem with a couple of the Wild Eye directors. Like, I don't know how there's what's his name?
Justin Ferguson. Yeah.
Ferguson. My God. Yeah. Dude, seriously. His parents must be rich in order for him to do movies. and the other guy that does the Ouija Sharks. Yeah. I liked the first Ouija Shark because I told Patrick I couldn't wait for the second one. The second one was just really bad.
Was that Mark Polonia?
Yes, Polonia. Yeah. Mark and the Polonia brothers.
Yeah, he has a whole crew he works with. But at least those movies are usually like an hour and 20 minutes, right?
Yeah,
the Ferguson movies will be less than an hour. They'll be 45 minutes long sometimes.
I just don't. I can't get.
Brett Kelly.
I like to support like Bryan does. I like to support But dude, I don't know how the hell this guy, and he gets like these girls on there that are like really like two inches away from the strip pole. You know what I mean? And it's just like they're like really awful actresses. And it's just like. Because one of them, you could actually see she was reading, and they showed, I think it was "Don't F in the Woods," and they actually had a pizza box with her dialogue on the tray. Because she couldn't remember her lines.
Yeah,
it was the blonde, Mark. It was the blonde that was in the tent, Bryan. The blonde in the tent.
Yes.
She couldn't remember her lines, so they actually put a pizza box in the bloopers, and at the end of the movie, they actually had the pizza box with her lines on it. And I'm like, she's humping a guy, and she couldn't remember her line.
Patrick knows her name.
Oh, okay, Patrick, awesome.
That's why Patrick's the man.
That little tidbit of information, he knows exactly who you're talking about. Oh,
that's
man.
Great.
Thanks, Patrick. Donna Lee Heising.
Wow.
Oh, man.
How'd you guys feel about the Corman movies back in the day?
I always enjoyed them because they were like really cheesy fun.
I mean, do you have like a favorite from that era?
Yeah.
Because first one that pops into my head is Humanoids from the Deep.
Yes.
Humanoids. Oh yes, for sure.
It is just so skanky and so gnarly, but I love that movie.
Yeah,
I've always loved that movie.
I don't think we had cable back then, but I was like in middle school, I guess. Everybody was talking about it. The cross species. It intercourse and everything. And I was like, what are they talking about? What is this? I finally saw it. I was like, what a sleazy movie. But yeah, it's pretty fun.
Right. I didn't see that until the video stores came out with copies of it, because you heard people talking about it, but I didn't know what it was. And then when you're in high school, you're trying to be cool with the other kids. It's like, yeah, I've seen that. Well, tell me about it. Oh no, man, that's too cool. It's like, I didn't see it.
You got to see it yourself, man.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember watching that on HBO several times. And I didn't know that much about it. I didn't know it was a Roger Corman film until a lot later. But it actually came up when I watched Slumber Party Massacre the other night. They were talking to the director of. There you go. Yeah.
Yeah, I got the Steelbook.
Yeah. They were talking to Amy Jones, the director of Slumber Party Massacre, and they were talking about her being a female director working with Roger Corman, and the fact that, being a female director, and she put so much gratuitous nudity in Slumber Party Massacre, and how she felt about doing that. And she's like, well, I had to do it because I was working for Roger Corman. It's kind of a requirement for Roger Corman film.
Yep.
But then reading a little bit, I don't remember if it was actually in the making of or not, but then it came up somewhere that whoever directed that film, Humanoids from the Deep, it was a woman, and I can't remember her name. But she got pissed at Roger Corman because he wanted to do those sex scenes, and she wouldn't do them. So he went and got another director and did those scenes behind her back and stuck them in there.
Yep.
So, yeah,
yep, that is absolutely true.
Yeah.
Yep.
There's a great podcast called "The Movies That Made Me" with Josh Olson and Joe Dante. And Joe Dante, of course, got his start with Corman, and he always has like people from the Alan Arkish has been on there a couple of times. That's the guy that directed Rock and Roll High School. But every once in a while, they'll have a special episode just talking about Corman, some of the tales and stuff. And I mean, some of the stories, it is so entertaining if you're into that sort of shit. So that's a podcast you might want to check into.
I'll definitely check that out.
Yeah, I was going to bring up Piranha when you guys talking about Corman. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Piranha's great.
Yes.
I still don't understand that stop motion creature.
The one in the lab.
Oh, no. Yeah.
I remember seeing that at the drive-in, getting into it. Then I saw that stop motion, and I'm like, I was like 12 maybe when I saw Piranha at the drive-in. Even then, I was like, "What the fuck is that?"
Did Phil Tippett do that? Do you happen to know?
Yeah.
Did he? Okay.
Yeah, he contributed on that effect, and they even asked Dante about that on the commentary. Why that's there, and he said just because he loves stop motion. The Harry. Ray Harryhausen effects and stuff. Yeah. And he says he just wanted to find some way to put it in a movie, and that's the one he did it in.
That's awesome.
Yep.
Yeah, I always like Corman movies because they gave you a fun movie, and they always gave you girls.
Well, the R-rated ones did.
Yeah.
So it was just like, okay, that was fun. I mean, because the story. Because when you're young, the stories don't really matter. You're just like, you're waiting to get scared or, to watch, especially scary movies.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And there was always like, he set it up like an ABC kind of thing, A plot, B, the women, damsel in distress, and then the hero to finish it out, or a monster, you know what I mean?
Yeah, or gore.
Yeah.
Well, when you said monster, Kenny, I immediately thought of AIP from the 70s with Food of the Gods and Empire of the Ants and Island of Dr. Moreau and all those movies. And I guess those would be considered independent too, because that was what was that, Samuel Zarkov or whatever his name was?
Zarkov, yep.
Yeah, he was definitely his own, kind of like Corman, so those movies, I saw a lot of those movies growing up at the theater too.
Yeah, me too.
And those movies are pretty bad.
Yeah.
They're pretty bad.
Definitely.
Yeah. But they're great.
The Corman movies still kind of stand up you know, for their own little cheesy factors. But I don't know, man. Some of those AIP movies, man, they're they're pretty bad.
Yeah. Well, I did, you know, I was a teenage werewolf. I was a teenage Frankenstein. How to Make a Monster. Those were fun, and I started reading about Arkoff. He's pretty much a character. He had a formula for what what the audience was teenage boys. You know.
Yeah.
That was it, and he went for it. So those three are good, but yeah, some of the other ones.
Castle too. William Castle.
Oh yeah.
Castle was the same way. You would just he would give you a basic formula, you know, with those movies. You know, I still one of my favorite ones that I know it was based on the person was Matinee.
Yeah,
I love that.
That's a Dante movie.
Matinee is fantastic.
Yeah, that's a great film.
It's a Joe Dante movie.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's just a great movie. You know, I definitely want to get that big, I think Arrow release of it. You know, when it comes down in price.
Yeah, I know Shout Select. I think Shout Select has
Oh, is it Shout? Okay.
Yeah, they've got one, but I think that one's coming out on 4K too. So
yeah.
What's going on, Texas?
Yeah,
Thank you.
I haven't really dove into him, but another director I think of is Herschel Gordon Lewis.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Blood Feast.
Blood Feast. 2000 Maniacs.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely.
The Wizard of Gore. Yeah.
Oh, that's a cool set.
Yeah, it's a little arrow set.
Oh wow.
There's a bigger set of this that's like.
Is that the one that looks like a cereal box?
I mean, this is a regular like release of it.
Oh, okay.
But there's one that's like way bigger and like has a lot more. It has like a booklet. It has like.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this is just a condensed version of it.
God, I haven't seen those movies since I was a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sean's got one too. Creatures from the Sea. Is that the box that you got?
Oh, the Cold War Creatures one.
Yeah, Cold
War
War Creatures.
Yeah.
That's
The
a
Sam
cool
Katzman set. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, the other thing they put out, Arrow, a lot of these companies, they will take regional directors. Like you got Bill Rebane. Where was he? Like in Wisconsin. God, I got one of his movies about a talking monster truck. Oh, my God. But and then
I've heard of that.
Wait.
Yeah,
Time out. A movie about a talking monster truck. And
Yeah.
you're surprised that it wasn't good?
Yeah, I don't know. I thought it was pretty good.
Reminds me of that movie Rubber. The
Yeah, right.
Tire.
Oh yeah, Rubber was so much better than this.
Oh my
Rubber
God!
was
What,
actually
that was the Dollar Tree select. You had to get that movie. You
Oh,
know.
yeah.
we went from Crackoon to talking monster trucks.
Killer tires. Oh yeah.
And then you had like in Florida, you had William Griffey.
Mm-hmm.
I know there's a collection. It doesn't have this, so if I eventually get the collection, it'll be pretty cool. Because this is Impulse with William Shatner. And the cool thing about like independent films is sometimes someone like William Shatner will jump in one because he wants to do something different. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's a total sleazeball in this. So this is actually signed by William Griffey.
Nice.
Very
Oh,
nice.
wow.
Yeah. That's pretty cool. But yeah, very, very sleazy movie. But he's really good in it. You know what I mean? It's a very interesting film to watch if you don't know him from, outside of Captain Kirk.
Yeah, that's funny because like a lot of those actors, like when Dan was doing his AIP salute, like Michael Landon was like a very unknown actor at the time, but like a lot of those guys that you'll see, like in other shows, like especially like a lot of westerns too. Because Dan was bringing that up with his book that he had of like a character actor book.
Yeah.
The character actor book, which I found fascinating.
Yeah.
But like a lot of those guys are always on like those like Rawhide Bonanza that we were talking about, and they're always in like the horror movies. That's why I like the Ed Wood movies, because you had the same ensemble of guys in like every movie.
Yeah, the one guy that was part of his repertoire was known as like the John Gielgud of B movies because he was in like so many.
the other
John
filmmaker
Gielgud, I love that.
the other filmmaker that we haven't talked about, Larry Cohen.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
I mean, just the It's Alive movies alone. But then, you throw in God Told Me To and Q. I mean, Q, I love Q. That movie, most people can't stand that movie, because we were talking about stop motion. I love Q because if nothing else, Michael Moriarty is so batshit crazy in that movie. I can watch him in that movie all day long.
Yeah. I wanted to see that so bad when I was a kid, but it just felt like such a, like like there's no way I was going to be able to approach my parents and have them take me to see it. I was too embarrassed. Like I know they would say no, so I didn't see that for years later. But yeah, that was fun.
Yeah,
when I think of Larry Cohen,
yeah,
I think of The Stuff.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, I saw The Stuff theatrically. I didn't see Q theatrically, but I saw The Stuff theatrically.
I seen The Stuff on, and you guys will remember this. USA Up All Night.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, "What in the hell is this?" And it was like, and it's like one of those where you just can't take your eyes off of it. You just got to keep on watching it. You know what I mean? That was like Basket Case. What the hell is that going on there?
That was great.
And Ladder.
Oh man, that I remember renting that at West Coast Video.
Yeah.
And there was like a wait for it because it was like so popular. And instead of the guy getting like a couple more copies that were like $80, he just had the one copy, And I remember waiting on that for months. And I remember getting it home and me and my brother watching it. He's like, "What the fuck is this?"
Yeah, you go to the video store, you'd get that, you'd get Extra.
Extra. Yeah.
And what was the other one? Because my brother came home with those. Oh, The Children. Do you guys remember that piece of shit?
Oh yeah, The Children
with the smoking. Give me a hug, mommy.
Mommy.
Oh my god.
Mommy.
I don't
Cut
remember
their
that
hands
one.
off. That's the only way you can kill them.
But no, what I remember about that is Roger Ebert just going off on that movie.
I know.
And that just made me want to see it. I was like, now I have
too.
to see this movie. And I actually didn't see it for years later, but I do enjoy it on a level,
I remember when we got when I worked at Movies Unlimited, we got a movie called Frankenhooker.
Oh yeah,
that's Handler.
Oh, yeah.
Had the
guy
button
as
in the front. Want a date? Want a date?
Yep.
You got any money?
I just remember, and then watching it, I literally had to buy it. I bought it on Hamilton Book, not a sponsor yet. Come on, guys, make it pop.
Yeah, Hamilton Book, yes.
I got it on Hamilton Book. I got the DVD, but I just wanted a copy of it because it had so much good memories of, that. I just remember kids pushing it. Want a date? Want a date?
I have not seen that, believe it or not. So
Shut up! That is a great classic.
Yeah, it's something.
Yeah, my expectations are not high.
It's the best movie I've ever seen that has exploding hookers. I mean,
yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
As our good friend Mike would put it, you probably won't hate it.
Yeah, you probably won't hate it. Yeah, you won't love it, but you won't hate it.
Yeah, that's what we recommend here. Yeah, you probably won't hate it.
You probably won't hate it.
We should ask Mike if we should trademark that and make that the motto of the show. You probably won't.
Oh, not to get too off topic, but we were sitting there talking about Cool as Ice not too long ago. Remember that?
Oh yeah.
It came up. Another podcast I listened to called Overhated. They talk about movies that are basically overrated. That was this week's episode, and I immediately thought of you, Kenny.
I love that movie. Yep. Words to live by.
Yeah, this guy's just defending Cool as Ice, and I'm like, I wonder if this guy went to school with Kenny.
I don't know, Dan and Bryan. I don't know if you ever heard this. I went opening weekend to see Cool as Ice. There was 3 people in the theater when I went to see it, and the the guy that cleaned it up, the guy that was the janitor in there, he was clean. He goes, "How bad is this?" I said, "Fucking great movie, dude." Like that. And he was like, "Really?" I'm like, "No." But I own it. I own it on Kino. I bought the DVD, a Blu-ray of it because it holds so many great memories.
Still haven't seen it.
Kino put it out.
I haven't seen it, but I know what you're talking about.
It's just a great movie.
It's a timeless classic. I saw it in the theater at a late night showing, and the place was sold out, and people were just yelling at the screen. It's literally one of the best times I've ever had at the theater. It's fantastic.
I remember it was like starring Michael Gross, and in his first feature film, Vanilla Ice, and then it was like the dance sequence in the middle of it. You'll be cool as ice coming February.
The dumping ground for films.
Drop the zero and get with the hero.
Great. I think that thing was released like in February for Valentine's Day too.
Oh God!
Oh, random.
So random.
Yeah.
So, once again, I sidetrack our podcast.
Yeah. Well, that is truly a horror movie. If you really
Think about it. Yeah.
Yes, it was.
Painful to watch, at least.
With pizza eating turtles.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Go ninja, go ninja, go!
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The Secret of the Ooze.
Yes.
That's the only Vanilla Ice property I saw theatrically, and that was against my will. So, I was trying to impress a girl by taking her kids to see that movie. It did not work. It did not work.
I got to hear that multiple times a day when I was a projectionist, so it was fantastic.
That was my childhood.
I'm sorry.
No, that happened to somebody, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, happy 31st anniversary to Mr. Nanny today, too.
Mr.
Oh,
Nanny.
Mr.
With Hulk Hogan.
Hulk Hogan.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
I remember watching Suburban Commando.
Oh,
That was
is that the one where he wears the toupee? Hulk Hogan wears the really bad toupee.
yeah, I believe, yeah.
Like awful.
No, Thunder Lips is about the beginning and the end of my Hulk Hogan cinematics experience.
Still his best role.
I did like Thunder in Paradise, though. They did a bad TV show with like Jack Lemmon's son all like roided out and stuff like that.
No.
You had to look at Chris Lemon during that, man. He went from that sitcom he did on Fox where it was like duets or something like that. I'll just say duets or something. I forget it. It was like a romantic comedy sitcom. The next thing I see him, he's like all fucking jacked up, Like
the next Joe
ripped.
Piscopo.
I mean, like ripped,
yeah.
like in this Thunder in Paradise show. It was just like another horror movie.
What would you guys say was the last movie that you saw that actually scared you? I don't mean like made you jump. I mean literally scared you. It doesn't have to be independent.
For me was Nightbreed.
Really?
The
Really?
movie Nightbreed. Yeah. I don't know. It was. I watched it. I rented it West Coast Video, and it was like 2:30 in the morning. And just like when they went into the cave and stuff and like all the monsters and shit, I was like sitting there eating my hoagie and I literally jumped, because I wasn't expecting that. And especially with like Cronenberg, his character in that and stuff with the girl.
Oh, I love Nightbreed. We already know this. So.
Yeah, it's a good movie, but it literally scared me.
I'll be right back, guys.
Okay.
Sure, no problem.
Yeah, Sean's a real douche, isn't he?
What about you? You can mute that mic, remember, Kenny?
Yes. He has the power.
I was going to say, don't
power.
fuck with the boss, man. What about you, Dan?
Scared. That's a tough one, huh?
I mean, it could be something even when you were a kid, you know.
Oh, well, when I was a kid.
I mean, something that truly scared you.
Okay, well, I've mentioned a few times in the channel. The first movie that it really creeped me out, like all the way through and stuck with me, was probably Tourist Trap. Because
Oh yeah, shit.
I mean, that was on TV in the afternoon. It was PG, so I guess they didn't think it had to be cut. Yet the director, he thought it was going to be rated R. He was stunned that they rated it PG. So here I am, as I'm not like super young, but I'm not even a teenager yet, and I'm watching this in the afternoon in my room by myself. And when you're a kid, mannequins are scary.
Yeah.
When you're a young kid, I was coming out of that, but then I have to see this, and I get to see somebody get suffocated to death. That scared me.
Yeah, I saw that on cable when I was like 12, I think.
Yeah.
So yeah, I get it. What about you, Brian?
Scared me.
Past or present?
I would probably say it was the first horror movie I ever watched. My mom let me watch Stephen King's It when I was like 6 years old.
Oh, the miniseries?
Yes.
Yeah, as a 6-year-old, I could see where that would fuck you up.
Especially when he comes up the drain when what's his
Beverly?
name? No, not Beverly.
Oh, in the sewer?
Yeah, when he comes
with
up
Georgie?
when he comes up the when what's his face goes to shower
after
he's running a gym.
Yeah.
He comes up the drain in the showers.
Yeah.
Yeah, that creeped me out.
Yeah,
I was afraid to shower.
Really?
Yeah. Well, as a kid, I could totally see that. What about you, Sean?
I won't say it's obviously not the last movie that scared me, but I will say the movie that had the most lasting impact on me in terms of scaring me. I didn't hear what movie Dan was talking about, but the movie that really scared the crap out of me when I was a kid was The Legend of Boggy Creek, because it was a G-rated film.
Yeah.
And my parents took me to see it thinking it was a kid's film, I think. And there's a scene in that movie where I think Bigfoot is standing outside a window and puts his hand through the window and scares the crap out of the people in the house. I had for the longest time this phobia of looking out a window at nighttime because I was afraid that something was going to be standing there and smash through the window. So that creeped me out long into my 30s, 40s.
Yeah. There was some
I don't want to look out the window.
Yeah. There were some G-rated movies back then that probably should have been PG for sure.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Exactly.
But the funny thing is I was afraid of windows because of the In Search Of episode with Bigfoot. There was a scene where a guy's like sitting down and it looked like he was taking a dump. I swear to God. You see him you see a profile of him and he's just sitting there. And then right outside of the window, you see Bigfoot's shadow.
Mm-hmm.
That scared me as a kid. And then there was also an episode of another show about they call them the Hopkinsville Goblins in Kentucky.
Mm-hmm.
The family was besieged by little, aliens all night. And there's a scene where someone's like washing dishes and one of them comes right up to the window. And I guarantee you, if I saw that today, it would be the goofiest thing ever, But I was afraid of windows forever because of those two things.
Okay. Can I put a spin on that question, Jim?
Sure.
What's the biggest jump scare in a movie that you've seen? I know what your answer is going to be, Jim.
You do?
Yeah, I do.
What is it?
Exorcist 3.
That's the second biggest one. That's the biggest one of the 90s.
All right.
That's the biggest one of the 90s.
Okay. All right.
No, the biggest jump scare is also part of the scariest movie of mine of all time, Nightmare on Elm Street. I'm your boyfriend now, Nancy, and that fucking tongue comes out of the phone. That scared the living shit. Now I'm getting goosebumps even talking about it. That literally made me scream in the empty theater by myself after hours when I watched it alone. And yeah, to me, that is still the best jump scare of all time. But Exorcist 3 is a close second.
Okay. All right. Very good.
I got one. I got a jump scare that scared the hell out of me. The first time I watched Texas Chainsaw Massacre, when she goes into the house and wasn't she? It was the guy goes in the house,
Yeah.
and then
door.
that metal door just
Opens
the
up.
screeching of
Boom.
it, and then just knocks him out with the hammer.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a great one.
That got me good.
Yeah.
Yep.
The fact that he slammed that metal door shut and the camera just sat there for a few seconds.
Yeah.
You know, it was like, to see that as a kid, I was like, holy shit. That was scary.
Yeah. There you go.
Oh yeah.
Awesome.
I've got the steelbook.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, that's what this is. It's a steel book.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Okay,
Kenny,
what about you? Kenny?
I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was looking at this steel book because I'm still getting the reflection a couple of seconds after. I'd say Pet Cemetery, the first Pet Cemetery. That kind of, when that cat jumps in that bathtub, man, that just. I was not expecting that, and that was another one because you want to have like sort of like an ambiance of that, and I just remember like it was like 3:00 in the morning watching that, and it was just like scared me. It's like all the lights went on, turn on the record player, turn on the CD player, it's like, okay, I'm up. That really shook me a little bit, and I just started. I said to Sean, I just got a couple months ago the Exorcist movies 1, 2, and 3, and I watched the Exorcist for the first time just last week, and I really enjoyed that. And Sean just went, "Go right to the third one."
Yeah.
So
skip the second one altogether. Yep.
Yeah. So
unless you want to laugh, if you want to laugh unironically at a movie, then by all means watch The Heretic.
Just skip part 2 and just watch Repossessed.
There you go.
the Leslie Nielsen one.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And actually, Repossessed is less funny than The Heretic.
Yeah,
That's how bad The Heretic
one's
is.
close to the book. So, yeah, I as a matter of fact, I just started that today. I got to the part where the priest was dead in the hospital. His friend.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's the part I stopped at to get ready for the podcast. That's where I stopped.
Okay.
For the shit your pants jump scare.
So
that
I'm
one did almost make me shit my pants theatrically.
I'm looking forward to finishing that.
That's actually my answer because I saw that. I had no interest in seeing that movie at all because I knew Exorcist 2 was terrible, and we got Exorcist 3 at my theater, and nobody came to see it. And I sat in the theater just watching it, and I'm like, all right, I'll check this out. And I just got sucked into it. The sound design on that movie is fantastic.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
And I'm watching it in a theater by myself on a rainy Saturday. And I can hear the rain outside, and the ambiance of that like empty hospital and everything. And that jump scare hits, and I literally screamed in the empty theater, and I was like, "Oh my god!" And I don't give it away for Kenny, but oh my god, that got me so good. That is the all-time best jump scare ever.
Yeah, it's definitely right there.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll give you another thing about like the especially with the 70s and 80s movies, they set a sort of like a scenario, like the scenery is a lot better in those, just with the people, like the ambiance of the whole scene, like when the priest and George C. Scott were sitting in the diner.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it was just like you could actually see them having a conversation, around, and just the ambiance, like the atmosphere around them, you got sucked into the scene.
Yep.
Whereas today everything's so like perfect, and they don't like, but you could actually see that was a New York deli, or a New York diner that they were sitting in, and it was just like I just get a good. It's like I guess I want to say they're like more gritty, especially
Yeah.
like 70s,
Oh yeah.
70s.
Oh yeah.
And I just think that's what's missing a lot from today, because everybody tries to be too perfect and too technical with like setting up their scenes and stuff like that.
Mhm.
And just that little piece I just thought was really cool.
Don't watch
you-
anything after Exorcist 3
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
because they tried to do a prequel called The Beginning twice.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Twice.
Two
Yeah.
different directors, two different scripts, same star, and both versions suck. And I haven't seen the newest one, but by all accounts, it's pretty bad.
See, Mike.
Hey, thanks, Mike.
Take care, Mike. Thanks for
Take care,
watching.
buddy.
Yeah, I did like the. I don't know if that had anything to do with it, but Exorcism of Emily Rose.
No, that's a totally different.
That's a
That's
different movie.
that was a
That's a
good
great
movie.
movie.
That's good. Yeah.
Yeah,
That
Jennifer
was a
Carpenter
really
is
good movie.
phenomenal in that movie.
I
The
think
shit
that was
she
a
does
Bryan
physically is on another level in that movie.
Yeah, that was really good.
Yeah, no, that's not in the Exorcist universe. That's just an exorcism movie, and there's a lot of exorcism movies.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
You know, that's a whole different genre.
And
But-
the other one, I can't remember who recommended it. Autopsy of Jane Doe.
That's
Yeah.
a good movie.
That's a good
That's
one.
one of those-
Anything
Oh, yeah.
Word?
That's one of those
Oh,
independent movies that Bryan was talking about. That Scream Factory is.
That was a
released.
good one. Yes.
And it is that it's more or less a 2-man play
Yeah.
yeah.
with a body. You know, a 3-character
Mhm.
play, I guess, because one of them's a dead body. But Brian Cox and Emil Hirsch, they're both fantastic in that
Oh
movie.
yeah.
Yeah, that movie is really good, and it just sets it up because with being in the morgue and stuff like
Mhm.
that, and he's
It's creepy.
It's
creepy.
You don't know what's going on until you know.
Yeah, IFC Midnight. I misspoke. Thank you, Patrick.
Yeah.
My uncle-in-law, I guess you would call him, recommended that movie to me, and I had never heard of it. He watched it on Netflix, and I was like, "Oh, if he liked it, it must be good." And I put it on. I was like, "Holy shit, this is really good."
Yeah, that was a blind buy for me. I just randomly saw it. I think I bought it at Best Buy when it came out,
Mm.
and
I got it on Hamilton Book because
watched
of
it. And I was like,
Patrick's
yeah, I see why people love this movie.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. It's one of those ones that just sort of sucks you right in, and
Dan, have you seen that one yet?
Yeah. I saw it.
Okay.
I don't own it, but I saw it. Must have seen it on streaming somewhere.
mm,
And that was one, like, I kept getting that title mixed up with other titles, and then I started watching it. I was like, okay, this is the Brian Cox one people have been telling me about. And yeah, that was really good.
If you guys like that, there's a movie with the 8 movies to die for. I don't know. It's called Unrest.
Okay.
mm.
I'll have to check that out.
That is really good. If I had my phone, I would look it up. But the girl, they're basically medical students, and it just basically happens in this morgue. Three medical students, and she's like obsessed with this one body that comes in, and that's really good.
Cool. Excuse me. I'm trying to quit smoking. I'm going to this vape, and it's killing me.
Oh,
Excuse me.
Is that an After Dark movie?
Yes.
Kenny?
Yes,
Okay.
it is. The girl's really pretty in it. I think she's a blonde.
Yeah, Corey English and Marissa Pittoro.
Yes.
Don't know who either one of them is, but okay.
I don't know. I don't know either. It was like one of those that you got like they were like when I was on the Whatnot buying like movies, they were like 50 cents to $1, and it was like I like those movies. Like there's another one, not the series, Penny Dreadful.
Mhm.
I love that show.
Yeah,
Eva Green.
yeah.
Woo.
That's
I'm in love with Eva Green. I would watch Sin City: A Dame to Kill For all over again just to watch her because that movie's a piece of shit. But in glorious 3D, oh my God, that woman.
yeah. I just picked this one up.
The Dreamers.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Off
Yeah.
of eBay.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. That's damn near a porno.
NC-17 version.
Yeah, that's a damn near a porno.
Yep.
Yeah, that's the first time I ever saw her, actually. And I saw a lot of her.
Oh yeah. That movie doesn't leave much to the imagination.
She's a fantastic actress too. I mean,
She is.
really is. The Dark and the Wicked really freaked me out. I've never heard of that one.
Yeah,
That's a newer
especially
one.
the scene where she's like cutting carrots in the kitchen. Oh yeah, definitely.
I have that one. I have not seen it yet.
I won't.
It
I won't
almost
give
made the
away,
Halloween
but
15 this year.
What's that? The Dark and the Wicked?
Yeah.
It's ROJE released that.
I'll have to check into that one. I've never even heard of that one.
Yeah,
Like I said, I'm so far behind it. I'm a horror geek. I mean, horror is my first love.
I think that's the same director as The Strangers.
Oh,
yeah.
Which I love,
wow.
The Strangers.
Yeah.
I have no desire to see the new one though.
I was just going to ask how the new one was.
I haven't watched it yet.
Yeah, I heard really bad things about it. I mean, when it shows up on cable, I'll probably check it out.
It's a remake, reboot, whatever they call it these days.
A trilogy.
Yeah, they're doing a whole trilogy of it.
Yeah,
they already did.
My thing with that is, I thought the sequel to the first one was good.
Yeah.
People have mixed feelings about it. I really liked it, and I was kind of looking forward to maybe having a third one where they kind of went in a different direction, or they went, they went in like a different direction, and then they rebooted, and it's like, well, how much different is the first one going to be from the first one? Because it's the same premise, Is Tamara home? You got to go through all that again.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. And again, they filmed all three of those movies back to back to back. I mean, the other two will be coming out one way or the other.
So probably do you think they're even going to go to the theater? Or they might.
I think the second one will, because the first one, even though it wasn't a huge hit, it still turned a profit.
It did turn a profit. Okay. Then
because all three of those movies, because they filmed them together.
Yeah.
Rennie Harlan was on one of these podcasts I'm talking about. He was plugging it at the time. And they filmed all three of them like in a 90-day period.
Wow.
And filmed them all literally concurrently with each other. Like today this morning we were doing scene 1 from part 1. At lunch we're doing scene 5 from part 3, and the characters had to keep on remembering where they were.
Oh wow, that's
in
crazy.
The story.
Wow.
But again, that first one it made money, but just about everything I heard about it was that it was really bad. So I can't imagine the second one's going to be much better, much less the third one, but who knows?
Yeah.
I don't know. I saw the beginning of the first one and I didn't get to finish it. I don't know why, but it didn't seem like something that you could mine for a lot of material, like in terms of concept. So
yeah, it's not The Purge.
Yeah.
Because The Purge, well, again, The Purge, say what you will about the Purge movies, okay? But the first one is basically just a home invasion movie, like The Strangers. Mm-hmm. And the main complaint that I had about that first movie, because I liked The Purge, okay? I like most of those movies. But my main complaint was, fuck what's going on in this house.
Right.
I want to see what's going on out there.
Exactly.
And the next two Purge movies, at least, Anarchy and especially Election Day, I think delivered on that. And I really enjoyed both of those movies. But, I don't need to see any more Purge properties. I mean, it's been done. I don't need to see any. I mean, what? We've got 5 now and a TV series?
Yeah.
I watched the first 2 of those. I didn't really get it going after that.
The Purge films?
Yeah, the first 2 Purge films. Yes.
Yeah. Election Day, the third one, to me, was the best out of the entire series. Because that one, at least, it's not boring. I mean, it basically gets going from the get-go. And Frank Grillo is friggin' awesome in that movie.
Oh, yeah.
He's friggin' awesome in that movie.
Which one is the black couple in the low income housing?
That's Anarchy. That's the second movie.
Okay.
The third movie's got Bubba Gump in it.
Oh, okay.
Michael T. Williamson.
Michael T.
And,
oh, really?
Yeah, and he owns a store or whatever, and Frank Grillo is Secret Service protecting a vice president or a woman presidential candidate who's running on the premise of ending the purge.
Right.
So at the last minute, the founding fathers, or whatever the hell they're called, they changed the rules of the purge, saying that government officials are now, you can go after them because they want to take her out before she can get elected.
Yeah.
And
They're all living
is.
in bunkers, probably.
Yeah. While they're
yeah.
hiding in bunkers, exactly. And it is. They got semi trucks filled with miniguns coming after these people. And I mean, yeah, there's some set pieces in that movie that are really cool. I mean, really cool. They got one scene where they're just going out, and this guy's got like guillotine blades strung up in booby traps, and you're just seeing heads everywhere. I mean, oh yeah, it's gnarly. It's a good movie. It really is. And that is still not my recommendation.
There's another good one with Frank Grillo in it called Cop Shop.
I got it.
Jerry
I love
Butler.
Frank Grillo. Yep, good movie.
Really good movie.
That's a throwback.
Yeah,
That's fairly recent, isn't it?
Yeah, but that's a throwback to like old grindhouse action movies.
Yeah,
where it's
and
literally
like
just
set in one spot.
Yeah, two guys stuck in jail trying to kill each other.
Yeah,
with a hitman trying to come in to finish the job. Yeah, that movie's a lot of fun.
That movie really surprised me.
Where are we at? 7:30. Okay.
Yeah. All right. Anybody have any other indie films that they wanted to talk about, or topics, or did we want to go into recommendations?
I got one.
Okay.
Only because these filmmakers, they've actually they had a couple independent films, and eventually they got some pretty good notoriety with Cold in July. Same director, Jim Mickle.
Oh yeah,
Stakeland.
Oh, okay.
Stakeland 2. The first one's better, and he usually works with an actor named Nick DiMicci, who's kind of like almost like a Tom Atkins, kind of a tough guy. Kind of a character. He was in Cold in July in a supporting role. So you got this, and then you got the We Are What We Are, which is actually a remake.
I've seen that one. Yeah.
That's a good movie.
Yeah.
And a lot of times you'll see Larry Fessenden will have a cameo.
Mm-hmm.
Kelly McGillis is in a few of his movies too. He works with a lot of the same people. Yeah, she's in Stakeland, and Daniel Harris is in Stakeland too. And another one before both of those, Mulberry Street. It's about rat people in New York City.
That was good. I like.
Yeah, that was really. And a lot of these are character-driven stories because they've only have so much. They had so much money for like rat people. There's only so many vampires in Stakeland, but good at ambiance, good cinematography, and a lot of good characters.
Cool.
Yeah, I can definitely vouch for Stakeland. I've seen that. I haven't seen the sequel.
Yeah,
Cold in July.
It was okay. I mean, it's not as good as the first one, but it's pretty good.
Yeah, it's been a while, but I really like the first one.
Mm-hmm. And he had Wyatt Russell was in Cold in July. He was also in We Are What We Are too.
Oh wow.
Yeah, he has a small role in that, supporting role, I guess you would say.
Yeah, I forgot he was in that, but you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've seen that one, but yeah, that's
good. That is good.
Cool. Anybody else have anything they want to plug before we get into the recommendations?
Nope.
Okay.
No, can't think of anything right now.
All right.
Even though I'm surrounded by independent horror, but
my wife got me a cool Galaga machine.
I'd like to ask Dan about Hammer Horror. What ones would you say to go to if you're a new fan of the Hammer Horror?
I would say pretty much the first one of each one of the monsters. Horror of Dracula, and if I might mix up some of the titles. Horror, Curse.
Yeah, it's
the first Dracula, the first Frankenstein, the Mummy, the first Mummy, and they only made one werewolf movie, Curse of the Werewolf. Those are all good, and if you really like those, then start seeing some of the sequels. Most of the sequels are pretty good, and then also Plague of Zombies is a really good one. And then and then the one Sean reviewed yesterday, Night Creatures. That's one of their movies that wasn't really horror, but they it's got Peter Cushing in it, and they throw in some horror elements. They did that a lot with a lot of the movies. They had a lot of they had like 3 different pirate movies. They spend 0 time on the water, and none of these movies have any scenes on the water, except one of them has some stock footage in the beginning. But they're all really good. So Night Creatures is a good one too.
Pirates and Dry Dock. Gotta love it.
Vampire Lovers. Yeah, that's another good one.
Yeah, that's the only Vampire Lovers, believe it or not, is the only Hammer film that I own on Blu-ray.
Oh,
really?
And I'm ashamed to admit that, but it's true. That was one of the $9.99 Shocktober sales a couple of years ago.
It's a good movie. I mean, it's worth watching
Pitt.
for many reasons, but it's also a good movie.
Ingrid Pitt. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, you called me out for forgetting to mention what's her name? Yvonne Romaine.
Yvonne Romaine in
Yeah.
Night Creatures.
Yeah.
She was something else in that.
Yeah.
Those Hammer movies, they had beautiful women in them. I mean, just absolutely beautiful.
Whoever had the job of scouting out those women, that was the best job in the world. Whoever that guy was.
Had to be.
I'm going to dig up a book that my parents bought for some reason. They bought us kids for Christmas one year, and it was called Horror Movies, and it's this big coffee table book, okay? And it's got big glossy pictures of a lot of the Hammer movies. I mean, and if I can dig that up, I'm going to like take pictures of it, because I know for a fact, Dan, you'll totally love it. It's got some really great stuff in there. And one of the pictures in there, Kenny, War of the Gargantuans, because that's how I saw that movie. I saw that picture in that book and was like, oh wow, what's this? And then they played it on Creature Feature, and I saw the movie. So
I love that movie so
I know
much.
you do.
Yep.
Yeah, they've been showing that, Kenny. They've been showing that on there's a YouTube channel that was showing Godzilla movies in a loop. It's like
the Shout Factory's
Shout Factory.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
yeah. And but they had that in the rotation.
Oh, nice. I'll have to look that up. And it's the Shout Factory.
YouTube channel.
Okay, cool. Yeah, because I will watch that, because I've been going on Max and rewatching the Godzilla movies, because I like watching it, and I like how Max has it. They're all in order. They put them all in order, so you can go boom, 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 right down the line.
Yeah.
Because I'm not too much into college football, so it was like Saturday afternoon. Woke up, got my tea, and I watched like 5 Godzilla movies. I've seen them before, but I like watching them,
Yeah. I started watching them on Tubi. I was enjoying the fact that Tubi had the Japanese versions, because when we were kids, we always had the dub versions. So sometimes there were subtle differences, and it was funny to hear the actual characters use the word kaiju, We didn't know that word when we were kids. We didn't know what that was. No. But they're that's the word that they use in the movies.
Well, I like Dan on your the martial arts theater, and a lot of them you can go to YouTube. YouTube has a lot of them, or Tubi, and I like the difference on them because of the oh, come on, Sal. It's like like the American dubbing is like so off. And if you especially with the Bruce Lee, when you had the Bruce Lee movies, the dialogue was different from what they were saying.
Yeah.
Which totally blew my mind. And that got even more engrossed in the movie when that. So I find it pretty cool.
One of the I think it was Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla in Hungary. They decided to just basically say that the first Godzilla dies, and then when you see Godzilla come back, they're like, "Oh, the characters are saying this is a brand new Godzilla." They just basically rewrote the movie. What do you guys are just supposed to translate. What are you doing here? Yeah.
Oh man, that's too funny.
That's hilarious. Yeah, I put the link to that in the chat, Kenny.
Okay, thank you.
Toko Shoutsu is the name of the channel.
Totally off topic here, okay? But you were talking about how they changed the plot and hungry of a Godzilla movie. You know how they change titles for movies overseas?
Yeah.
Do you guys remember that movie I, Frankenstein? Does it ring a bell at all?
Kind of
Yeah.
rings a
Sounds
bell.
familiar.
Yeah.
It's not a very memorable movie, but I always thought if they released that in Japan, or I mean not Japan, in Mexico or Spain, would it be Yo Frankenstein? Boom, boom.
Well, the apparently the title of the Untold Story in Hong Kong was Human Meat Buns. That's the plot of the movie. Why would you know what I mean?
That's hysterical.
But that's the plot of the movie. Why would you make the
That might be the best of the night. That is great.
Yeah.
That is so good.
Human meat buns. I got nothing.
Want a date?
I had to look it up to check it, but you know the movie Speed, right?
Yeah.
The Swedish word for speed is fart.
Wow.
Keanu Reeves and fart.
So I don't know if they changed the name of the movie in Sweden. But
Oh my god.
That's too funny.
Oh my god.
Yo soy on Frankenstein.
Frankenstein.
Yes, we're all 12 years old. All right.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, it is movie recommendation time.
Oh god, I got
we are
tears in my eyes. I know
gonna
one.
go through our movie picks of the week. Since you guys are the guests, we're gonna get you guys go first. So Dan, I'll have you go first.
All
What
right.
is your pick of the
I'm
week?
pretty sure. I'm not 1,000% sure, but I'm pretty sure that this was an independent film. This is one I saw on TV when I was a kid, and it really creeped me out. Not as much as Tourist Trap, because at the end of it, they have a really goofy special effect, so it didn't really stick with me.
Mm-hmm.
But there was one particular scene that really bothered me when I saw it as a kid. The flesh eaters.
Oh wow.
There's something in the water that eats flesh. So most of it's about a mad scientist who is developing these organisms that eat flesh to be used as a weapon. And at one point, he's trying to, and he's on an island doing these experiments, and some people get stranded there, and he wants to get rid of them. So he actually puts some in this guy's water bottle, and he drinks it. And there's a scene where he actually has like a hole in his stomach. And the special effect is actually pretty good for the time. But then, like I said, at the end, they decide, oh, now we need a giant monster. You know what I mean? They just couldn't help that back in the day. So then all the little creatures join together and form this big blobby monster. And the special effect is bad. But the guy that plays the scientist was named Martin Kozlek. He actually escaped Germany right before World War II. So unlike a lot of German actors or German-American actors who didn't want to play Nazis, he did it all the time, and he loved it, and he made them as evil as he could because he.
Oh wow!
Yeah, because he really hated them. He wanted to show people how bad they were. So he really pours it on in this movie. I mean, he's like a really evil scientist. The DVD has what they call the deleted Nazi experiment scene. So there is a scene where people, like back in Germany before the war, they're throwing these captive people in this pool with these creatures, and then they cut to like a skeleton, and it's a little it's a little goofy by today's standard, but that didn't quite make it on TV, but it is on the DVD. Yeah,
cool. All right.
Cool. What year is that from?
Like 62.
Cool.
62. Yeah.
Cool,
That sounds like a winner. All right. Thank you, Dan. Bryan, what do you got for us?
I have an independent Halloween horror film since it's Halloween season. From 2019, it's called Halloween Party.
Cool.
You can actually watch it on Tubi and Peacock and Amazon Prime. Basically, this movie is about these college kids. They they discover that their school was once had dorm rooms used as hospice to house dying patients, so it's like cursed. And these this group of them are called the balloon babies. They are disfigured, so they're wearing masks. These masks, and they're trying to get everyone up for this Halloween party so they can kill. It's a very strange film. It's like a made for TV like sci-fi film. So I thought it was interesting enough to bring it up for tonight's show.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's about 97 minutes. Directed by Jay Dahl. I'm not really familiar with him, but you can watch it on Tubi for free. That's where I watched it. This DVD is kind of hard to find though, so it was put out by Breaking Glass Pictures.
Awesome.
It's on Tubi. That'll make Kenny happy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Maybe we can get that sponsorship this week. We got 2 recommendations from Tubi.
I know. Come on, Tubi, make it happen.
Kenny, what's yours?
Mine is a 1962 movie called The Ghoul with Peter Cushing.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And that's available on Tubi.
And John Hurt is in that, right?
Yes, John Hurt's in it too. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I seen it. I was trying to do like the Hammer horror, and I seen it on somebody's channel. I'm like, man, that sounds really good. And then I was looking it up, like I always do, and it's on Tubi, and so it sounds really good.
Mm-hmm.
So
Cool.
that's all I got.
Okay. Jim, what do you got for us?
I am going with a nice little gem from the 80s called Dead and Buried.
Nice.
This is directed by Gary Sherman, and it was written by Dan O'Bannon and who's the other guy? Ronald Shuzette. Those are the 2 guys that wrote Alien.
Mm-hmm.
And this is kind of a weird movie, but man, is it cool. And it's got a great cast. James Franciscus is the lead, but Grandpa Joe from Willy Wonka, Jack Albertson, is the mortician in town.
Nice.
And Dale Arden from Flash Gordon is the sheriff's wife in this movie. And there's a very, very young Robert Englund, Freddy Krueger himself.
Oh, wow.
Only thing I'll say about this movie is that it is absolutely batshit crazy. I don't want to give away the plot. Check it out yourself. I think you'll enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
Great atmosphere too. That small town, that small seaside town. It was like Kenny saying,
it's like Stephen King story.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
I mean, it's in a little fishing village, and in New England, it could have quite easily taken place in Maine, and that would have made it a Stephen King story.
Right.
That's a good one. I can second that one. I've seen it. That came out when I was in 6th grade, and I wasn't allowed to go see it at the theater, so I bought the novelization of it. And,
I had that novelization too.
Did you? Mm.
Yep. That's pretty awesome. Yep. I think I still had it up until like 3 years ago.
Nice.
Well, Dan kind of spoiled mine, but mine is actually going to be Night Creatures, even though I just reviewed it.
Bastard, Dan.
Right. That's all right.
Well, just say Captain Clegg.
There you go. Yeah,
that's the other title.
Clegg, but no, the reason I'm pushing it as a recommendation is it was just a very pleasant surprise. I really had no idea what I was getting myself into. There is a review of it up on my channel, but I'm not picking it to plug my channel. It's just I really enjoyed it, and I think really more people ought to see it because it's just a fun movie. Peter Cushing is just amazing in it. And I've been doing a little bit of reading about it, and I guess he got kind of invested in the character because I guess the character of Dr. Bliss was actually based on a character called Dr. Sin, which was owned by Disney, and Disney was going to be making movies, and they wouldn't license it to Hammer, so Hammer sort of said, well, okay, fine, we'll just rename the character and make our own version of it. So Peter Cushing was really into playing that character and was super enthusiastic about doing it. And it shows on camera. He's fantastic in it. So if you like Peter Cushing, it's definitely one to see. But yeah, Yvonne Romaine is in it. Oliver Reed is in it. Michael Ripper is in it. It's just a great Hammer film. So it's more of an action adventure type movie with horror elements, but definitely worth seeing and a lot of fun. And it is available from Scream Factory, and it is also available on Amazon Prime if you want to watch it for free.
Oh, cool.
I'm not quite done yet. Just hit exit.
Okay,
Excuse me, guys.
No problem.
Yeah, that sounds really intriguing. Yeah, I want to see that one.
The 3-part Disney adaptation,
Mhm.
The Scarecrow of Romney Marsh, that's pretty good too.
Oh, okay.
Similar story, but it's Hammer. They had to take it a different direction, so it's kind of interesting to watch both.
Yeah, I would definitely want to check that out. I gotta unmute Jim. There we go. Sorry, Jim, I had to unmute you.
No problem. Sorry about that.
That's all right. Texas says that Dead and Buried is another one that freaked me out as a teenager.
Yeah, me too. I saw it on cable. I didn't see it at the theater.
Yeah, I didn't either, obviously, but yeah, that was
a rental for us. Yeah,
definitely. I found a limited edition DVD of it at Half Price Books maybe like 10 years ago, and I'm like, oh wow, this is going to be worth something. I'm going to get it, and I watched it and I loved it, but yeah, you can get it anywhere now. Blue
Underground Blu-ray.
Yeah, that's what I got is the Blue Underground Blu-ray.
Yeah.
I think it has a 4K right now, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
With 2 different covers.
Yep.
Oh, really?
Of course it does.
Yeah,
Oh,
and
wow.
I know people that have bought like all of them, and that's something I've never understood. I mean, again, if you've got a lot of income, then okay, fine, and that's your passion. But I've never understood owning multiple copies of a movie beyond maybe 1 or 2. Somebody who's they own the same edition, but it's got a different slipcover, so they got to own 5 of them. It drives me insane. It's like, why? Are you going to watch each one of those? Probably not. It just looks cool on your shelf.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe it's just me.
No, we were just talking about that through the chat about Joker too, being one of the biggest bombs, and it's like the guy that I watched his review on, he didn't like it. He goes, but I'll be buying it when it comes on 4K and from HMV and like the super. I'm like, I just wrote him back. I said, dude, if you hate the movie, why are you going to spend $40 or even more on something that you're never going to watch?
Yeah.
Right.
I don't get that either, Jim. I have that, like, there's certain movies that like I have like multiple copies of, and it's basically Star Wars.
Yeah, we talked about that, and that's understandable.
Yeah,
but
like,
but what I'm trying to say is that you don't do that with every movie.
No.
And there are people that'll do that, and I don't know if it's because they're getting kickbacks from movie companies or what, but it's like, how in the hell are you having a stack of 100 movies every week? And it's like, what kind of job do you have?
There's one guy I watch, and he's like, I bought 180 movies this month, and here's my rundown. And I'm like, and like one of them was like 5 of the same one because it had a cool slipcover or steel. And I'm like, dude, why?
Yeah.
You can buy something else, because each month I go on the Hamilton book, there's probably about 60 I pick, and then you have to go down because your income, and it's like,
right.
I don't mind taking blind buys off a Hamilton book because they're like $2.95, $3.95, and I can give them, like I gave some to Bryan, his brother, that I wasn't gonna watch before, so.
Yeah, I'll buy shit at the Goodwill store for a couple of bucks a pop, and not worry about whether or not, I'm going to watch it. But even then, I'm not going to buy a duplicate of something, even if it's only a couple of bucks, because again, I already got the damn thing on my shelf,
Right.
I mean, I've got 2 copies of They Live, and they're both steel books. One's the 4K, one's the Blu-ray. Okay, I don't even own 4K, but I got that 4K for super cheap, and I love the artwork so much that I actually made that exception to my rule. I was like, you know what? I love this movie. I love this artwork. I got to do it. You know, I mean, it was like $15 for a 4K steelbook. So yeah, I jumped on it. You know, I won't do that anymore though. I mean, I can't do it. You know,
Right.
I just don't understand. Like I said, unless you are getting these movies super, super cheap, if not free, you know, or you just, hey, look at this. I got this so I can make a video, and then it just gets chucked somewhere. I mean, why are you buying it? You know, if I'm buying something, 99% of the time, it's something that I really, really want. It's not something that, you know, yeah, I thought I would take a chance and spend $30 on this. You know, I don't get that.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. My third rant of the evening is over.
No, I think this topic will come up all the time. I think this is our 8th show. I think it's come up maybe twice, maybe 3 times with different people. But, you know, we all have our different reasons for buying movies. You know, some people are collectors versus movie fans and watchers. You got somebody riled up in the chat.
Uh-oh.
Oh, my mouse is lost. There we go. No, you just got to support.
Oh, okay. All right. My man, Texas. See, me and Texas are cut from the same cloth. He knows what I'm talking about.
No, but I understand, you know, some people are collectors and some people will buy stuff just to buy stuff to put it on their shelf. And I get that mentality. I don't understand that mentality, but I get it. Because that's definitely not me. Like Kenny was saying, I own, you know, multiple copies of a couple of different types of movies, but they're my favorite movies ever. And I like the artwork, or, you know, I want to have a different edition of it, like Star Wars, Superman, Jaws, and now Godzilla -1. I'm going to have a bunch of different versions of that. But I don't do that for every movie that comes out, or every release that comes down the pike, or, you know, like you were saying, every slipcover that comes out. I don't have the shelf space, number one. Number two, I don't have the money. Number three, I don't have the time to watch 180 movies in a month. Why would I buy 180 movies in a month? That's ridiculous. That's just absolutely ridiculous. I feel guilty if I buy more than 25 movies in a month. You know, and a lot of those I get super cheap from you know, the buy sell trade around here, or I'll trade movies in and get credit. So I'm really not spending any money at all. I'm just recycling movies that I have duplicates of, or you know, that I just don't watch anymore. So,
well, I think all five of us, especially because I know with Dan and Bryan watching their videos, they buy them at the Goodwills, Salvation Armies, you know, and stuff like that. And it's just like, and Dan goes to Dark Horse Records,
Dark Side Records.
Dark Side Records.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
New stuff.
Yeah.
And sometimes you get lucky; it'll be used, but it'll still be in the plastic.
Yeah, I remember one movie you got. It was like brand new sealed. I think it was Rocky. Wasn't it Rocky?
No, I don't think it was Rocky. It was I got the first 3 Rockies.
Yeah,
it was the complete Kung Fu series.
Oh,
wow.
yeah.
It was still in the plastic.
Yeah,
wow.
You know, never opened. It was a little worn. You know, somebody probably took it off and moved it around their house 87 times, and then probably said, "I got to get rid of this thing." So
it's probably the same guy that Kenny watches.
Yeah, 10 years ago, he was like, "Look what I got for $100."
Oh, that's terrible. But what are you gonna do? When you've got a hobby that's got as many different people involved in it as us, we're all gonna find the things that we like and don't like about the way other people do it. So,
and the thing
whatever.
is, we're not hurting anybody.
Nope.
Doing it,
Nope.
you know,
if
our wallets.
Yeah. If all of us have a vice and this is it, I think we're all okay. So,
Well, I guess this would be the time to talk about my meth habit.
All right.
Wow.
Just kidding.
Texas says, I just bought this Pete Walker set. I have the 2 Kino collections, but the box artwork is cool. And there's a book, some cards. I had to get it, but won't buy 50 copies of something. Yeah. I mean, if there's,
there's exceptions. I mean, I get that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. There's always exceptions to everything.
Yeah, if you love a movie and it comes with a media book and you know there's going to be good stuff in it, you know, I can see that. You know.
Yeah, absolutely. There's no wrong way to do it, but there's some weird ways to do it. We'll just put it that way.
That's what she said.
On that note, all right, it's time to end the show. Thank you to our guests, Bryan, Dan.
Pleasure.
Thank you very much for coming
Thank
on.
you, guys.
You guys are awesome. Thank you so much.
No problem.
Bryan, you're officially not a podcast virgin anymore. So
There you go. glad to be part of the show, guys.
You got a glow
you
about
guys got to come back again.
Oh, for sure.
yeah, we'll definitely have you back on if you'll oblige. And
Oh yeah, for sure.
okay,
Gotta get
awesome.
we got Bryan. We got to get Bryce on.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
We'll have to figure that out.
Yeah,
He's a busy man, but we'll figure it out.
yeah, he's a parent, so
Yes, he is. Yep.
He's got
Dan,
2 little ones.
you need to come back as well.
yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
Definitely. Anytime.
All right. Well, thanks again. Thanks, Jim. Thanks, Kenny. And
Thank you, fellas. Thank you so much.
we
Guys,
will,
I'm very sorry about the camera.
No.
No problem.
Sorry about that.
don't worry about it.
Never ending entertainment, Kenny. It's all good.
It's always something.
I'm never boring.
Have a
All
great
right.
night, guys.
Thank you.
Have a great night, and we'll see
night,
you in
guys.
2 weeks. We're going to do another horror show. People that are not watching us live, don't forget we're on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Podbean, and YouTube Music, so you can listen to us too. All right. Have a good night.
Bye, guys.
All
Bye.
right.
See ya.
Bye.